there's like, dead spot or anything like that. Awesome. So we're starting in 1 minute. Are you guys ready?
Woo!
Oh, yeah, sure. All right. Awesome. I also prepared an email for the folks who subscribe, so they would hopefully won't miss the live.
Right. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock. Welcome to the contest. Today we're going to discover who's going to win the first ever conversational design contest. And with me, I have Dustin from Bot Copy. I have Vittorio. We're just going to let everyone introduce themselves. So Dustin, if you can, who are you, Dustin?
I am Dustin, CEO of Bot Copy. Steph and I, we've known each other for a long time now. Big fans of everything he's doing. Chatbot conference has been amazing. A little bit about Bot Copy. We are a front-end web and mobile app messenger for Dialogflow. So if there's any Google designers out there and want any tips and tricks for Dialogflow or how to deploy it on your website, I am happy to chat.
Awesome. Who wants to go next? I could pick. You guys decide. Okay, why don't we go with Vittorio?
I guess it's a reverse alphabetical order.
Yeah, reverse alphabetical order.
Very complex. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Vittorio, co-founder and CEO of Bot Society, which is a conversation design solution. You can preview, prototype, test conversation interfaces. I've been in the space for a bit, and I'm excited being here.
We're excited to have you. I'm hearing applause in the background.
Thank you. I'm actually blushing right now.
Okay. Next up, let's go with Bethany. Hi, Bethany.
Hi, really excited to be here. Thank you for choosing me.
Absolutely.
I work for LivePerson. It's a conversational AI company for some of you who may not know that provides solutions for customer experiences. So that's anywhere from conversational cloud to orchestrate and build conversations to professional services to help big companies launch solutions. And I've been a conversational strategist with the sales team to help companies like imagine and envision what their customer experience can be for the last, 4 years now.
4 years. Very exciting stuff. I remember when the bot stuff first came out, and I know Vittorio was around back then. It was all like a bunch of entrepreneurs getting into it, and now it's all enterprises doing real use cases. Yeah. So Nandini, if you can introduce yourself next, please.
Yeah, sure. Nandini here. I'm so honored to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm currently looking after the content and conversation design teams at Flipkart, which is India's largest e-commerce marketplace. And there we concentrate particularly on conversation as an enabler for the next 200 million e-commerce users who are new to the online shopping world. And then I got into conversation design many, many years back, starting as a technical writer, and have spent my time working on standards and conversation design patterns, and helping new designers get cultivated from areas like content design. So thanks again for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for being one of the judges. And last but not least, we have Asenith.
Yes, I'm Asenith Palmer.
Asenith, okay.
I'm a technical writer in business communications at Google, and I focus on business messages, which is a conversational platform that lets customers connect with businesses straight from Google search and maps. And I focus on conversation design, much like Nandini, and working from a technical writer's perspective, but my background is in linguistics. So that was part of my love of language that brought me to this work. And I'm just happy to be here.
Well, thank you for coming so much. Awesome. So right now we have a number of people from Philadelphia, so I just want to give them a shout out. Okay, so this is our first ever contest, okay? And we had 75 participants, right? Vittorio, roughly speaking. And you guys have had the privilege of going through all of those. How was that?
I have to say, like, and I hope I'm speaking for everybody. Like, it was a great experience. The entries were really good. It was very hard to just select the finalists. That was already a very hard thing to do. And we also had to establish the student category because we had a number of submissions from students. So we're very excited about that as well.
Right.
From almost 40 countries, actually.
Wow. So we have a lot of bots that speak multiple languages, I bet. So we've played a little bit around with the bots, and I'm not one of the judges, and neither is Dustin. We're both co-hosts, but we noticed that some of them were in German, and the multilingual aspect is like really valuable piece. So I guess for the next couple of moments, we can just briefly talk about like the scoring of the contest and like our agenda for the next hour and a half or so we can get everybody excited. And then we also want to make this as interactive as possible. So while the judges are judging the contest, me and Dustin are going to go through some of these use cases, some of these bots. We're going to play around with them. Dustin's going to give me his honest, critical feedback.
I like that. I'm ready.
I know. And then the judges are going to come back, and then we're going to award the winners. And then we have, at the very end, we're going to have a special bonus for everybody. So if you stick around at the end, you're going to get something fun, something very fun. Okay, so do you guys want to talk a little bit about the scoring?
Yeah, pick up somebody specifically, which is not me.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go with Bethany. Bethany, tell me what your thoughts are about the scoring.
So we had a few categories that we were basing our scores on. One was usability, like how clearly does the bot define its scope and purpose? How intuitive was it to use the bot? Did the bot keep the user engaged? How helpful was it? What was the error rate like? What was the ease to complete task? And then we also had effectiveness in terms of like the mode of entry and like quick replies and short answers, like how efficiently could you really get to the final answer, and were there no dead ends? And then another category was creativity, like what was your bot persona like? How was your dialogue? Was it very memorable? What was your use case concept like? How interesting was it? Did it solve an interesting problem, or was it entertaining? And then we also had complexity, which is the breadth of knowledge that the bot could accomplish or had, its emotional intelligence, personalization. And then the last one was richness, which was like images and videos and carousels.
You know, just going through some of the entries, I saw a lot of richness in some of the, in some of the bots that were submitted. So I'm really glad that was one of the categories. And so I'm putting the scoring criteria up here. Victoria, if you can tell the audience a little bit about how you guys are scoring the contest, the point system, so people can understand. And if you're watching, you could also like play around with these bots and score it and tell us what you think. Because, I think Dustin and I were talking about having the people's champion. And, being from Philadelphia, there might be something there.
Everybody's champions at the end of the day. Yeah. We're all winners here.
Awesome. Yeah. By the way, I see folks from San Jose, some from Park City, Utah, from Irvine, California. So I think Philadelphia was only the first hello. And so it's great to see the excitement in chat. So we're gonna give, if I'm not wrong, 10 points for each category. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And
you're right.
So that's the idea, and then we're gonna try to arrive to the very winners like that. 10 points per category, agreed by everyone, and then we'll or rather averaged between our each other opinion, and then we'll move it from there.
Got it. So the most a bot could get is 50 points.
Yes, correct, which would be perfection. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be like getting a 10 in the Olympics.
Yes, exactly.
But harder.
All 10 from all the judges. So, I mean, it's possible.
It's okay. It's possible. Well, fingers crossed. Right. Nandini, what are your thoughts about the scoring? What part of the scoring criteria is most interesting to you?
I think, first of all, it's very difficult to narrow down and to compare bot to bot, because they have sometimes different features intentionally. They're on different platforms and they use different integrations and things like that. But if you balance across and look at the different, for those bigger categories, there's actually a lot of finer notes and, breaking it down. For example, in complexity, multilingual would be something complex, but not all bots would necessarily be multilingual. So we looked at a lot of things, and it's very difficult because there's some really excellent entries.
Yeah. So how do you square that? So some of them might be, they might not be multilingual, and some might be multilingual.
Well, the judges will deliberate.
Okay. So this is behind closed doors secret. Okay. We can't tell anybody. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I think you're looking at the context, and that's probably really important as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And
just quick question for the judges. And this is kind of outside of the competition, but we're experiencing actually a pretty big growth in multilingual chatbots. Starting in one region, expanding to like several. Now we're primarily dealing with like web and mobile app as a medium, but have you guys seen growth in building chatbots in multiple languages? And do you have any like quick suggestions on, because it's complex, like a lot of, if you're looking at Dialogflow or really any builder, you usually start with one language, expand to another. Intents kind of map out to be, a lot of the use cases are the same. So you'll have the intents like cloned over, but the response types aren't there. And for us, if we're dealing with like a CX version or even a CX or ES versus CX, context setting or pages and things like that on CX, they don't go across the board, and it makes connecting the things that you're storing and tagging on this user journey a little more complicated as you grow to multiple languages. So do you have like 2 quick tips for people who are like thinking about a chatbot that also has like international potential?
I can pipe in here because on Flipkart's regular app platform, we support, in addition to English, 11 regional languages from India. And when we are working on, we have a voice bot as well and a chat bot. We have to consider things like most people in India speak at least 2 languages. And then there's mixes of language, English and combination with Hindi. And one of the key things that has come up for us is that typing isn't always the best input, that you might need voice just to even transcribe, because people with different languages may not know how to spell in the language that's already there. And then from there, I think just another tip is to use content designers, people who actually specialize in the language as opposed to translation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think you're bringing up a really good point, Dustin, and that is like, and I think it's really important to set the scene, give people the big picture. And what are you guys seeing in terms of trends, in terms of use cases, and then design, and how design has evolved? So when we play around with the bots in like 10, 15 minutes from now, people have like a really good idea of roughly how they should judge them outside of just the scoring criteria, but also in terms of like, what are you seeing in terms of changes in the space? Any trend wise?
Just growth and expansion to not only one region, because the use case is fitting for multiple.
Mhm.
I think what we've seen, because we're gonna talk a little bit about pain points into chat projects.
Yeah.
So one mistake I think we've seen is to not have this kind of roadmap set in the beginning, or like from concept to think, okay, this could potentially expand, because a lot of the development effort, especially in multiple languages, is going to get complex. And to not really think about how that infrastructure is going to look ends up taking a lot longer and being more complicated. We were working with one of the clients we're working with is MoneyGram, and as they expand to different regions, they're seeing almost having to restart their entire agent for each new region. And it's just more than they expected, or anyone really expects, as you kind of look into new languages and the complex languages. Like, as a linguistic or anybody studies language, they're complex. So just going from one to another and think it's going to be an easy like translation is not always the case. So I think you're spot on with that tip. Like, definitely have someone who's fluent in that language, design around that language. All those things aren't going to lead to the same point, and probably have a team around each region.
Right. And I think that, the cultural context is so important, because like you might get everything else right, but just the way just the context of everything is different. And so maybe to some degree, sometimes you have to like build an entirely different agent.
Yeah.
Awesome. So next up, let's talk. Well, actually, I want to get Aseneth, I want to get your thoughts on all of this, because you've been so shy, and we want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I was thinking that when you go live with agents in different languages, like, how do you think about conversational quality? Because that's going to vary by culture, and so you can't use the same metrics when you're flowing through a conversation that's in one language versus in another language. So one way to track conversational quality, just from an analytics perspective, is to think about your fallbacks. So how often are your fallbacks triggered? How often is a repair path engaged because there's been some kind of miscommunication? So there are different ways that you can track quality, even when you're working through completely different standards for what a helpful conversation is. So from an analytics perspective, I think you can apply some of the same standards, even though the standards for the actual conversational flow may vary by language and by culture.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit more about linguistics?
Sure. Well, in terms of conversational style, I think anybody who's traveled, anybody who's lived between cultures notes the differences. Yeah, I mean, when you think about turn taking, when you're in some cultures, it's not a one-on-one back and forth simple exchange of messages. There are some contexts in which it's appropriate to talk a lot, and one person kind of takes things in and receives and then sends multiple messages back. So I think the cadence of messages is one thing that can vary. The amount of personality that's needed to kind of lubricate the conversation and make the flow go smoothly varies. And so I think that whether you've lived in multiple languages or you speak them or not, I think we all have some experience with different conversational styles and cultures that we can apply, and we can apply these insights to design.
Yeah. So from your experience, is there like an easier way to do this than just having to recreate the bot or create? Yeah.
When translating is sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to understand the question. So when translating from one language to another, like, is there an easier way rather than just redesigning everything?
No, I mean, when you're taking the culture into context, the turn taking, the personality, and all these other components.
I think just from a very basic strategy is to try to whittle down the conversation flow into some kind of skeleton. You can make it very transactional, so that in a way you're adding or integrating culture to to make the conversation more palatable and to really appeal to the user and think about the user experience. But starting off at a very functional level, I think can be helpful.
Right.
The other thing to pipe in real quick is to, if you can afford it, or you should absolutely do some foundational user research to see what's the road ahead for you, and go get those insights really early.
Yeah, I think that's so important. How do you think that it's pretty often that companies don't do that? Do you think they underestimate the value of user research from what you're seeing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, here's another one. And this was one of Dustin's top 3 mistakes, was not using analytics, right? How often do you see that mistake being made? Where they're both, so in some sense, they're not using research on the front end and they're not using data on the back end. Is that common?
So I would say almost 50% of the clients are so focused on getting to production and deploying, and having a lot of the enterprise clients will have a nice budget to work on limiting the contact center overhead and deploy chat experiences to help do that. And they're so focused on getting to kind of a production ready, that they don't really tag or really understand some of the ROI or numbers that they're going after. And in our case, I think there's a little discrepancy on what analytic solution they should use. Now there's like Dashbot. Google does have a product like Insights. But they're all Insights in combination with something like Looker is nice, very custom, would require probably a development team on it, where Dashbot is fairly GUI and ready to go. But a lot of the clients that we see come to the table and deploy these experiences don't actually have their analytics set up, and have like key metrics to look at, unfortunately. So
that's surprising for me to hear, but are you guys seeing that as well? Bethany, Nandini, Vittorio?
No, please. I just wanted to say something very quick. First of all, like I've seen like the user research, for example, that Bethany's been doing, and Nandini as well. And I think that also factors into the analytics part, as in you start to get your data and then you are better able to understand, to make sense of the data once the analytics is in. Because you have a better understanding of what is triggering the best user interaction, what is quality to the conversation, to the point that Asinit was making before. Because what we see is a lot of folks, they get our data, but then what is difficult is making sense of the data, like understanding, is this a quality conversation or not? That's the harder question, if you like, rather than just grabbing the data. But I'm curious to hear from Bethany and Nandini and Asinit on this. But yeah.
Well, mostly what I was just going to say is LivePerson's Conversational Cloud has a pretty extensive NLU model for 10 different languages. And we have top intents based on, so part of the background with LivePerson is they've done customer service conversations for the last 20 years. And so they've gathered a lot of data and they've built intent models based on top intents. So when clients start with us, they can immediately start understanding frequently used top intents.
I see.
And then we have quick starter packs too, in terms of like giving your bot something to already understand certain, like if you're for retail, like how to purchase something, what are common inquiries.
That sounds exciting. So you make it simple for them to know what's important. Okay.
You find that most businesses have different use cases and chat needs, that the template is a nice kind of foundation piece, but kind of quickly goes just like custom features and things that they need to fit their needs.
Sorry, was that, I don't know if I caught that. Was that a question?
Yeah, so we've seen several like kind of templated chat experiences, whether it's for e-commerce or healthcare or legal use cases, real estate. We still find that every business and their needs and common questions and things like that are different. So while the template's like a nice structure for them to kind of pick up and start and get an understanding, it quickly, what we call, goes off the rails. And they start having to add like their own custom features. I forget who was talking about it, but one of the biggest mistakes I've seen is not really planning out your default or fallback messages for when they do go off the rails. Like chatbot, like if you're going to hire a new employee, you have like a set of goals for this employee to do. I think in the first day, we all kind of understand that they're not going to know everything, you know, and the chatbot's going to be the same way. And when they go off these rails and these default responses are hit, like proper planning for that, like building on top of that is so crucial for not only to have a team in place, like to monitor that, look at, okay, how can we improve this? Mm-hmm. But if we're looking at a template, how quickly do they go, like use the template as like foundation, but like what's that path to kind of expand and mold more towards your business? Because in my opinion, each business is actually quite a bit different. So it's hard to use a template across the board.
Mm-hmm. LivePerson is a big advocate of working with human agents along with the bot. So for anything that the bot can't answer, obviously it tries to like guide it towards a path where it can find something that's already automated in a frequently asked question. But if it can't do that, then it's to fall back to a human agent. And then that can help train the bot more too.
Amazing. That's
Stefan,
awesome.
I have just a little something to add. On the other end of the spectrum, what you could see happening, especially in large companies that take on an initiative for a bot to automate some of what wasn't automatable before, let's say, or is doing something new that they didn't have before, that you could run into some analysis paralysis where you are holding your bot to all the same metrics as the rest of your app or the rest of your website. And they're just not the same. They need regular care and feeding. And but one thing that's absolute gold with conversations is that in general, if you do your logging right and everything, you have access to full context sequential conversations where you can see exactly the path that users have taken and what they're doing. So you can learn so much by looking at it from a qualitative analysis side and then couple that with the quantitative side of what you're seeing and the metrics you're trying to reach. And then you can tweak one to influence the other and so on.
Interesting. Okay, so okay, let's talk about the finalists, because in 2 minutes the judges are going to go. They're going to go judge, right? So let me pull them up real quick. So everyone is very clear on the scoring, and it's come down to 5 finalists. So we had 75 people. And we narrowed it down to the top 5, and these are the top 5. Coletta or Colette. I'm really awful with names. I just FYI. Paul. We'll start with something easy. Paul. Meredith. Milani. Jersey. And Coletta. Colette. Okay. Please correct me if I got any of those wrong.
Yep. Can I add something before we jump into judging?
Yeah,
so
please
do. If you're one of the participants who didn't get selected, please don't be frustrated. It was really, really hard to select these 5 finalists, and all the entries were actually very, very good. And if your entry was not selected, don't take it as a bad sign that you should not do conversation design or anything like that. Take it as a challenge. We do this to kind of showcase the best designs that we can find to encourage the community. However, once you do that for an entire year, of course, the competition is going to be tough. So please don't be discouraged if you didn't get selected. There were a lot of good folks, good entries that we'll probably get back, individually. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because, of course, we had to make a selection. That's kind of the name of the game, but
Right.
it doesn't mean that like the other entries were not good.
Right. So, and that was the tough part because you had 75 good entries roughly, and then narrowing it down to 5. Personally, I'm glad I wasn't part of that process.
Yeah.
So, I guess without further ado, we'll let the judges, drop off, and then when you guys are ready, just let me know, Vittorio. You could speak up since you're number 3. You're going to be sharing the number 3 winner. Right. So, and then me and Dustin, we're going to play around with these bots. We'll take questions from the audience. Please feel free to ask as many questions as possible. That's the idea, right? And then we'll try to make it interactive and fun. And let's jump into the screen share. Awesome. Awesome. So this is the first bot we're looking at. The Libby health bot. So this is one of the finalists. Are you with me, Dustin?
I am here. Is it possible to see in your screen, but it's
Well, I'm you have the links to these bots, right?
Got it.
Right. Yeah, right, Dustin?
Yep.
I shared it above in the doc as well. And so let me really quickly drop this into the
You starting with Paul's?
What's that?
Starting with Paul's?
Well, I'm going to drop it in the chat.
Okay.
So the attendees could take a look at it. Okay. So next up, we're going to play around with this first bot. It's called the Libby Health Program. And Dustin, if you could look at the synopsis of it.
Yeah, I'm on the doc now.
Awesome. So here we are. And okay, what should we ask? Hi, how are you? So, Dustin, what are the things that you look for?
So this bot is one. I think one of the most important thing on chat experience is to understand your medium.
Right.
Voice or text experience. This is visually appealing. Nice full screen. I'm very focused here. I'm not fluent in German.
I think I had the settings. And this is actually Google translating some of these, which I found really, really, really impressive. So like this Lex Office one, for example, we'll go over this one in a little bit. But that one was in German actually, and then it's Google Translate that's doing all the translation. So awesome. So let's go through it. So here's what Dustin and I are going to do. We're going to have a smart user and a dumb user, and I'll volunteer. I'll be the dumb user. And what that means is that I'm coming in and I don't know very much about the bot or what it can do for me. So one of the things is we need to see how good the onboarding is, that it's going to onboard me in such a way where it's going to teach me what it's about and what it can do, right? So that's the idea of onboarding, is that you learn by doing, and that it's intuitive. So, and then Dustin is going to be the use case expert, right, Dustin?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right.
I'm on this doc right now. Is this
okay? Yeah, this is I'm looking at the Libby Health Program.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start. So I've volunteered to be the dumb user. Okay, what's my name? Stefan.
Mm-hmm. Can I just kind of give feedback along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love for you to do that.
This is kind of an open-ended question. I have my personal preference on this use case, but if I haven't received any value yet, I typically, especially in chat experiences, don't like to deliver that value back. I would say in this use case, there's no context, right? It's kind of a blank screen. Now, Granted, a user might have been briefed with some document
Right.
prior
Yeah.
going into this. But the first thing is just, hello, I'm Libby. What's your name?
Yeah.
So and that might be different in a real life situation. If you walked up to someone, it seems like a pretty natural like flow to enter into. But as far as a chat goes, like asking for a name is the first thing I'm typically a little against, to be honest.
I see. So you personally, you prefer that if the bot gave value first or gave you a reason to give your name.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that there's situations in which, like, maybe health or something like that, where the relation in situations where the relationship is more important, does that change the calculation?
So I'm not saying that collecting the name is important. I'm just saying that it might be good to, and I've started to go down this flow a little bit, and it's already asking for a few more things before I even know really what I'm getting out of this adventure with this chatbot.
So here's where I am now. So I gave them my name. I went down the chat experience. The bot asked me if we've chatted before. We haven't. And now it's telling me about tapping. Okay. And it's an EFT practice. Okay. Where you tap certain parts of your body when as a healing method. So let's watch the video, because that's very, very interesting.
Hi, this is Coach Colette, and I am creating this video for a brief demo of how to use the Libby chatbot. So you'll see that when you go to the page, Libby asks for your name, so you can enter your name. She asks for in this case, we'll say no, just to show, which is at the foundation of this chatbot. And so if you aren't,
I'm going double speed.
Click what's tapping, and then you'll be able to watch the video of me describing the tapping process. And so you can definitely do that when you start interacting with Libby. For now, I'll say I've tapped before, and then Libby's going to figure out, is this an intense day, not so much, or very intense.
So this was
start tapping.
Yeah. So this was the video that I actually got here, because I said I don't know what tapping is, and the video I got was this tutorial video. So I'm hoping that it teaches me what tapping is.
And then reassures you that that's okay. We all have anxious moments, and then we'll start tapping. So to tap for anxiety, Libby shares that you would be tapping under your eye and gives you guidance on what to say. So you would tap under your eye sockets and say, I tap to release anxiety. And then you let Libby know when you're done. And then she asks you, are you feeling better? And you can take that moment to breathe and relax. And if you don't feel better, she gives you guidance that that's okay, knowing that one tap may not fully release the emotion. So you have the opportunity to either tap again, which will take you back to the beginning of the process, or you can choose to tap in balance. And then that gives you the guidance to tap on your top of your head, to tap in a sense of balance, peace, and grounding. And you can do that as many times as you would like. And when you're feeling a little bit more balanced and grounded, you let Libby know. And then she'll ask you if you want to set reminders. And we find that reminders are very helpful because it allows you to be able to create reminders for yourself to come back to Libby to tap, and also to be able to include tapping as a regular part of your self-care routine. And there'll be another video that I will record that you can look at that shows you how to use the app to set reminders. So yes, but in this case, we'll say no, just.
Okay, I think I got it. So are you ready to tap, Dustin?
I've been tapping.
You've been tapping? Okay. Yeah. So look, I think that it's only fair if, since I'm going through this, that you're going to tap. And okay, how are you feeling today? Anxious, stressed?
So I said anxious.
So you're feeling anxious. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you're feeling anxious, let's see what happens. I'll put that. How intense?
I said somewhat intense.
Somewhat intense. Ooh. What's causing you to feel this way? Work, friends, family, or relationship, hurtful incident, an issue with my health, an issue with my finances.
Let's say an issue at work.
An issue at work. Okay. Okay, let's tap for anxiety. Okay, so what is it? Underneath the right.
3 to 5 taps right underneath your eye.
Like this? Interesting. Okay.
That was Morse code.
Okay. Are you feeling better?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
I mean, I was feeling great like the second we jumped on this call and kicked this
Yeah.
off. Always fun
Yeah.
catching up with you. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
you know what I really like about this?
Huh.
Even though in the beginning, I think it personally, I was asking for more information. As I started to understand it, I think the use case is pretty compelling. I think it's something that not everybody knows about.
Uh-huh.
Excited to learn more. And like,
Yeah. Yeah.
now
I
my
couldn't
question is, how easy is it to go back?
go back to tapping.
Go back to understanding more.
That's a great question. So why don't I do this? I'm going to say I feel angry because maybe like it's tomorrow or maybe in the next moment, like, and now it's asking me, wow, how intense it is. Okay, so let's say that it's somewhat intense, and let's say it's an issue with a hurtful incident. Okay. Okay. I mean, I think that the options it could be more options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A microtransaction.
Well, I'm impressed with the ability to free type and back into the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that everybody knows that that's possible or would remember the other things to call, like being angry, sad, down, mad. But I without scrolling up, actually, it looks like the suggestion chips are disappearing. So without scrolling up, I'm not sure what I can really ask it anymore about. So what we find in this situation is to create so these are little buttons or suggestion chips. At the end of a particular branch or flow, you might want to loop people back to a menu or do you want to try some other methods of tapping where they can go back to just get like a little bit like refreshed on other emotions that they may have and things like this in this particular use case.
See. Well, here's the thing, like at the end of this, I always have these two options of let's tap and balance or tap again. Mm-hmm. So I think there is that option. Let me see, like I'll type, I want to tap tomorrow. So this is kind of like setting a reminder. Let's see what happens. One more time. Okay. I don't know what that means. One more time. Yes. All right. Okay. I don't remember if you could schedule a tap yet. I know she mentioned it in the video, but
it goes over to their tapping Google Assistant app.
Okay. Because here, if you can still see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here I'm saying schedule a tap.
Yeah.
What was that? I wanna, and I'm just like, okay. See, like if someone wants to tap, it should get that, right?
What does it say there? Sorry, it's a little blurry.
Oh, here, let me zoom in. Does that help?
Yeah. You see that?
So I wrote, I want to tap tomorrow one more time. And I think, so this is easy for me to misunderstand because when I initially read it, I thought one more time as in, yeah, like let's tap right now one more time.
Yeah.
And I think it means like, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Like, say that again. What is that? And then I'm like, yes. And she's like, all right. And then schedule tap. What was that? I want to tap. Okay. So let me see if I don't use slang, what happens. I want to tap. Yeah. So
this is actually, should we talk about those three things a little bit later?
Yeah. Why don't we talk about them now? I think it's relevant. Okay. So Dustin has his top 3 mistakes that conversational designers make. He already talked about the number 3rd one.
Yeah.
Which is not setting up analytics. In other words, if you didn't set up analytics, when the conversation breaks down, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
So talk about the other 2.
There's really important things. Not that these are mistakes. It's just like, these are things we should have set up. Like every chat experience is going to, like this here, we're going to run into parts where it doesn't understand. For everyone who's kind of attending now and maybe new to chat experiences, a lot of us call that a default response. So once you set up your agent, one of the in my opinion, the most important intent is your default intent.
Default, yep.
Everybody should understand how to handle things that the chatbot doesn't understand. And it shouldn't just be a sorry, I don't know what you're asking. And again, I think I made this an analogy earlier, but if you were to hire someone, like how would they approach that situation? If you were to hire someone and they work like as a help desk on the front of your retail brick and mortar shop, and it's the first day and someone comes in through those doors and asks something that just they have no idea, are they just going to stand there and say, sorry, please try again?
Right.
Chances are they will try again and still not know. So there should be like, think about that flow. That's a conversational sequence that we can perfect.
Right.
And it can be like, sorry, I'm not trained yet, or I don't really understand, but don't worry, I'm going to. Can you leave your name and email so I can take your question and get back to you as soon as possible? That opens up the opportunity for a company to not only collect a name and email, but it's very understanding. Like we're not going to know everything out of the gates. Right.
Right. You know, overall, I really like the bot. I like the use case tremendously. Let me pull the checklist again so we could see it. So we have a reference. The scoring. I mean, usability.
Super clean, very clear. The mapping and everything. The button clicked through. Very good.
Yeah.
Are we going to give these like a rough score?
No. Well, you can give it. What's Dustin's score?
We'll just go like, okay, good, very good.
You know what?
Exceeds all expectations.
Right. And I'll say creativity, it's memorable and distinct.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
They used. I like the visuals that they had.
Yeah.
Without even thinking, I was like clicking and tapping, and it was good.
The effectiveness is where it needs help. They're handling the dead ends.
Yeah.
The personalization, I guess it kind of personalizes it by asking you how you're feeling, but it seems that like, and regardless of how I'm feeling, and maybe we'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll tell them that I have a different emotion. Let's see if I tap a different part of my body. And then I'm going to be Joe right now. I'm going to go by it. Oh, okay. He. Yes, we've chatted before. Let's say I'm feeling sad. And it's very intense. An issue with, let's see what issue with my family. Let's tap for sadness. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So you're tapping the inner point of your eyebrows. So you're tapping a different point. Well, I find that interesting. Okay. So, that's kind of interesting. Okay, cool. So Dustin, we could do this all day. So, but let's move on to the next one.
I like this. I think like
I like it too. I think it's
intrigued to come back and use this again, maybe like a day later. And I think it's nice to have like.
Look, I think that the use case is. I really like the use case. Overall, Okay, we'll go on to the next one because otherwise we'll just be here the entire time. So this one was the one that was in German.
You on the screen.
Yeah. What's that?
I said I would be tapping you on the screen here.
I know. Here is Lex Office. All right. So you know what this one's about. I don't. Again, I'm going to be the naive user, the user that doesn't know. And let me send the link over real quick. Before we, so everyone else could play with it as well. And guys, if you're watching right now live, feel free to ask questions. Like every once in a while, like I could see what you guys are saying. So I go back and forth. And now we're back at the Lex Office bot. Let's jump right back into this bad boy. All right, here we are. All right, ignorant user that doesn't know what the use case is about.
This is the first one.
Yeah, this is the Lex Office one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, like, imagine your uncle gave you this link and said, "Go talk to the bot," and you're listening, and you say, and so I want to get to. So I said hi already, and it said hi, nice to meet you. It says,
was there a prompt to start the conversation off with?
Nice to have you here. It's nice to be here. You could see, here we go. How do you mean? Okay. I would like to know. So basically, I'm trying to figure out what the use case is. Okay.
Yeah. See, I like the interface. I think it's pretty. I like the typing animations that they have going on. I think what a lot of companies struggle with that we use is the top message, that prompt message. Like, how do you start the conversation? As it's, to me, it's like one of the most important parts, because if people don't understand like how to start or how to use chat, then it just goes to open-ended, and you'll see, like, if you type hi,
yep,
it gives you the same messages that God gave me.
Yeah. So this is the one that's in German originally, and then maybe that's why there's a little bit of there's something lost in translation here as a result. So
maybe maybe type in thanks.
What?
Type thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I really like the thing. Is so cute. It's adorable.
It's adorable. So they're just like, it's kind of. I think it would be helpful if we were speaking, but I think hi and thank you.
Maybe. All right. I mean, okay. So what's the use case? So maybe I can ask it a use case question that'll help navigate me. Do we need to look it up? Let's look. The Lex bot. Dustin?
Yeah.
I'm the ignorant user. Can you tell me what the use case is?
So I love, they just won a lot of points for me.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
Because I'm trying to figure out what the use case is, just as a user who's never used it. And it's, I typed in something and it says, caught. I don't know what to do here. If you phrase the question differently, I might understand it better. So I phrased it a little bit differently.
What'd you say?
I said, what do I do?
What do I do?
What do I do?
Oh, okay. Like, instead of help me, what do I do?
Yeah.
It's still saying it doesn't understand me though. What do I do?
Here's the beautiful thing though. It's like, it tried once to get you to repeat yourself to see if you phrase it in a different way, that maybe we can get back on tracks. Now, it still didn't recognize that, but instead of asking you the same thing again, it says, I still don't understand. Feel free to try me again or speak with someone from our support team. And I think that's how you would want someone that you just hired that really doesn't know. They're still going to handle that and deliver value to this customer. It shouldn't just like continue to be this dead end or this default. So I would really admire the fact that they thought that default response out.
Yeah. So I think the challenge that we're having right now is that it's in German and we're trying to speak English to it, and then things are just lost in translation. And so why don't we move on to the next one? And let me get the link ready for everybody. And if you're German, you can play around with the bot that we just hung around with. So somebody asked, are bots using AI? How is AI used? Great question. So the top bots, what they do is they use NLP and NLU. That's natural language understanding. And the way natural language understanding works is essentially is it takes your language and it narrows it down to like what you intend. So it narrows it down to intents, and then entities are like the object. So think of verbs and nouns. So if you want pizza, your intent would be to buy, and the entity would be pizza. And then that's the input, and then the output would be like, well, what kind of pizza do you want? Do you want a large one, small one? Do you want a pepperoni, and so on? And so that's ideally what they use. They use NLU and NLP in order to parse the language. Now, these bots are getting smarter. And so what's going to start happening is NLU evolves over time, is that we're going to go beyond intents and beyond entities. And anyway, a lot of the entities have already been figured out. Like if you use Dialogflow, like Dialogflow knows what Paris is, you know? The only problem it'll have is like differentiating between Paris, France, and maybe Paris, Texas, and maybe like Paris Hilton. But it still narrowed it down really, really well for you. And so the next stage is like context. So we're going to go from intents to context, and then the entities are almost taken care of for you through these different platforms. So let's move on to the next bot. This is the voice flow, and I'm going to share this one with our friends on YouTube. And it's there if you guys want to. I'm sharing it again. You guys have the link, and you can join us here in voice flow. So same exact MO. We're going to come in here. I don't know what it's about. I'm the ignorant user. Okay. Is it poll? Okay. I'm Stellar, your tutor bot. Okay. So I know right away what this is about. It's a tutor bot right away. Okay. And then it tells me, and then it asks my name. So earlier you were talking about setting up the context and the reason why you would interact with it. And this bot does it in the first sentence. Do you speak English but want to sound more professional at your job? I can help. I'm learning too. Can you text me your name again? Oh, interesting. Okay. So it picked up the fact that I didn't share my name with it, that I just said hi. So my name is Stefan. So Dustin, initial thoughts?
So I love the fact that we start the conversation with a little bit of understanding, and it has a nice visual.
Yeah.
That's very important to me. And then after that, then they ask for our name. So far, I'm on board, and I'm more likely to give my name in this.
Right. Because it's giving you a reason as to why you would participate and play around with it to begin with. You know. Okay. Do you speak English but want to sound more professional at your job? See, not really. I do speak English, and I don't think I need English help. But I could totally see like most people in Poland would say yes to that question. I'm learning too. Can you text me your name again? I mean, like, so this right here is a follow-up to this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it's so far. I think it's a really good onboarding. It's helping you connect the dots for yourself. Okay. Now, how do you feel about speaking English? Are you confident English good blocked? Like if it asked me this question right away, it might have been too intrusive. But since I understand the context is that it could help me be more professional, and now it asks me where I'm at, I'm more likely to give it an answer.
Yeah.
And then it has some empathy. Do you want to talk later? Because I didn't answer right away. So it's taking the turn handling into account. So let's start again. It's a Polish Pro English chat. My name this time again is going to be Joe. They're just the two closest things to my fingers. So that's why. Okay. How do you feel about speaking English? Good. Good. Let's see what the good flow looks like. So right now, my my thought is that this bot is probably going to have a flow for each one of these different options. Do you like this?
So a lot of the experiences that we see with bot, we provide these. There's sequences where a button might be very useful. A card,
I completely agree.
Carousel.
Yeah.
In the beginning of this chat, they went strictly with free typing.
Right.
Which can be a little dangerous sometimes. And I accidentally was just typing quickly and had a spelling error.
Absolutely.
It quickly ended the conversation. I had to restart and try again. Whereas later they go down and all of a sudden these buttons appear. So I think maybe out of the gates, just to establish some kind of flow and get people a little further along, I think buttons might have been pretty helpful, because we're also looking at pretty simple ones like good, confident, nervous, blocked. Like, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I really flow through this and get a better understanding of how this is going to help.
Dustin, I couldn't agree more. I mean, like, it's part of our scoring criteria, like usability. Is it intuitive, easy to use? Does it richness? Does it have images, videos, carousels, quick replies? Like, I think those two things would really help help out.
That's kind of a big debate in the chat space, is like, are button bots good bots? And I'm on the side of, I think that there's some, you use suggestion chips to kind of help flow people down a conversation. Now, if there's ability to free type, and that can also help them go down that same, let's call it a decision tree, or let's just call it a decision tree, where they're going down and they're picking like one option or the other.
Right. So the judges are really deliberating very hard. So I just got a message from the judges. They need more time.
Okay.
So
we'll be here all night.
Oh, I know. All right. So, okay, what do you want me to do next with this bot? Let's see what happens. Oh, wow. See, the thing that is kind of bothering me a little bit, to be honest.
I just ran into something pretty cool.
What's that?
So I didn't type for, I think it was around 2.5 minutes. And it responded, hi, do you still want to keep going or talk later? I like that. It's just like sending a reminder. If we're on a web browser here, you might have like a browser notification. If you're in a mobile app, you might have a mobile app notification. Yeah. But the goal is to push further into this conversation. And well, I did click keep going now, and it ended. It ended, but
yeah, same here.
I like the effort. The idea was there.
Personally, I really like the idea because it's confirming buy-in.
Yeah.
Like when someone says that, they want to continue, that's way more valuable than you just continuing without them saying it out loud.
Mm.
You know, there's something psychological that happens when you say you're going to do something. Now you're kind of like on the hook for it a little bit. But the bot the bot also ended my conversation with it prematurely. I responded good, and then it just kind of like, the conversation has ended. So let's move on to the next one. So before we do that, let me send everybody the link, and let me see if there's any questions. Okay.
Which one are you going after now?
I'm going after the Bot Society, the one on Bot Society.
Okay. So this is
so people are really liking the timeout message. So Angela asks, how do you do that in voice flow? Let's see.
Which time?
I'd have to. Yeah. Go ahead.
If there's a timeout to recall the user, is that what the question is?
I don't know what the question is. I'm just reading questions. It's the first one I saw, but I think someone else is already answering our question. So
I can't speak too much on voice flow, but on bot copy we have event listeners.
Yeah.
And window triggers. So an event, and I'm assuming this would be how other software would set it up as well. But an event can be time, can be if they scroll to a certain area on the website, if they click a certain button, if they come in from a certain ref parameter, or if there's some context to entering the conversation, like they're a returning user, they've been there, we've had a conversation before, or that they're logged in. Those are all events.
I don't feel like going to the gym today.
Oh,
And you can send different messages according to the event. So if there's a time event, then if there's a timeout of 2 minutes, you could send another intent. That's how I would probably set that one up.
okay. So are you ready for something interesting?
Heck yeah.
Okay. So next we're going to do the bot on Bot Society. And I think this is a voice bot. And so I'm just going to I'm going to press the play button. Sometimes I speak backwards. Okay. So here we go. Let's see what happens.
I don't feel like going to the gym today.
Hey, name, it's fine to feel that way, but just a reminder, you haven't hit your exercise goal for today. Would you like to know if you've hit your fitness goals for the week?
Yes.
Sure, fine.
According to your Google Fit, you exercised Monday and Tuesday but missed Wednesday. It's recommended to enjoy a rest day between workouts, but you'd need to exercise today if you want to stick to your weekly target. To change your goals at any time, simply say, "Kick, change my fitness goals."
No, it's fine.
Okay, let me help you fulfill your weekly fitness target. Talk to me on your Google Hub or phone for the best experience. When you're ready, say, "Kick, help me with my fitness goals."
Kick.
Okay, fine. Kick, help me with my fitness goals.
Hey, name, I'm glad you asked. What's in the way of you exercising today? Feel free to say it out loud or select one of the options below.
Which one do you want to select?
I'm tired today.
Okay. All right. Let's see if it'll let me select it, or this is just I'm tired. I'm tired today. Okay.
I'm
You
tired
know-
right now.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I don't know how to click on this properly.
Well, let's talk about this, because this is actually a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, let's do that.
They've
Let's see. It's
they're
gonna go
doing-
here.
They're tying in real life, like
It's a real life use case.
real life
Absolutely.
use case. They're
Yep.
using different. They're using hardware
Yep.
on the watch
Uh-huh.
to kind of it probably created some. They're pulling information from your hardware and telling you about how to improve your daily life. So it's taking not only like two different hardware applications, whether it's Google Home or your mobile device, but also like checking out like the pulse
Yeah.
and everything that your watch is creating, and creating a conversation and helping you off of that. I think that's really interesting how they looked at, okay, we can take these two things and we can communicate with them. So I like that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, I think this was one of the ones that we were thinking out loud, like, how could we play around with this? Because, like, you know, I don't have a Alexa in my computer.
Mhm.
Maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I do. But you know what I mean?
Google Assistant.
Yeah. Let's see if okay. But I think overall, I think it's a pretty good use case. It seems like it's a well-made bot. And what are your thoughts on the overall design?
I think it's creative. I think there's a need for people to get reminders, and if they're not wanting to go to the gym, to kind of hit them back with, well, you're not going to reach your goals. Or
You want to hear something crazy?
did you go to the gym today?
No, but a long time ago. You know, I have a gym in my house, in my apartment. Serious. But
Sorry,
anyways,
continue with the story.
so IDEO, a long time ago, they built this bot that would help women joggers it would remind them about jogging, and it had a very similar use case, but imagine it's jogging instead. And then it would ask them like, how did your jog go today? It would try to be enthusiastic and so on. And here's the crazy part. So because they were doing like a lot of user testing, and this was like before chatbots were a thing, like they are now, before conversational AI, like you're talking pre-2016, right? And they were using SMS, right? It's before you can have like a rich experience of any kind. What happened was really interesting. When the women were getting when they weren't feeling good about what the bot was saying, they perceived the bot as being male. And isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And when they found the bot encouraging, they gave it like a female persona. And Ideal's takeaway was that no matter what you do, people are always going to see and experience a personality. Even if your bot doesn't have a personality, it has a personality, in other words.
Yeah.
I found that interesting.
We used to do bot copy. Started before we went into software.
Yeah.
Did the front end kind of messenger for Dialogflow.
Uh-huh. Yep.
We were creative writers from LA.
Right.
The copy originally came from copywriters.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. And we loved building personalities, and we would had this like, is it cool? Can we riff for a second?
What's that?
Is it story time, or should we, can I go into a story a little bit as well, or should we go into?
Are you asking me or?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
We've got some time.
Look, the judges need more time. Okay.
Then okay.
So you could tell a story, Dustin.
What do you think about this? We tested on a few clients, and we never really developed anything crazy around it. But I think the theory still is pretty cool, and maybe for some of the other designers watching, try this out. So we're going to go from one intent to the other, but to get to the other, we're going to have 4 suggestion chips, right?
Right. Okay.
I want all of the suggestion chips to go to the same place, but they're going to say it in a slightly different way. So let's say the 4 suggestion chips are different versions of yes. So yes, yes, yeah, and then just yeah, period. Okay. They're all going to the same place, but each one is kind of establishing a different personality. So imagine you have now, in this onboarding flow, you have 10 different sequences like that. And and you're starting to see trends in the buttons and the styles that they're picking. So we would pin personality types of the users and start changing the copy around based on what we've established, what type of user they are. So if they were aggressive and wanting to go through quickly, the copy would start changing and say, okay, let's get you what you want fast. Or if they were, like exclamation mark excited, we would like respond as like being very cheerful and fun in a different way. And we were able to establish that just on having different suggestion chips that went to the same place, but were written a little bit differently. And we found the conversion rates on some of the tests we did out of the gates with that being incredibly high. Like molding the personality to the user and reflect, like in sales, reflecting like your client or customer and them a little bit is
mirroring.
Is a pretty useful strategy. So if the chatbot can do that as well, we were designing under the principle that that would be successful as well.
Yeah, it's one of the, in psychology they call it mirroring.
Yeah, mirroring,
and it's extremely effective. You know, when you sync up with someone in your in repertoire with each other and engaging with each other in a good way, like you're going to start mirroring each other.
Yeah.
Right. And I've always thought that would be such a cool thing if bots did that. And the thing that I think we're headed towards, not maybe anytime soon, but pretty soon, is that at some point they're going to bots could have so much data on you,
Yeah.
kind of like Facebook and Google do, that they might know things about your personality and mirror you in ways that are not perceptible by you.
Or mirror you so well that you end up just talking to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, this bot is a genius.
It's really good bot. This is going to win the competition.
Yeah. We should create a bot called Parasocial. It's really bad. Not even a joke. I don't know what I'm talking about. You know parasocial relationships?
No, explain. We've got time.
Well, I think we have time because the judges are still judging. So a parasocial relationship is basically a relationship that, like you and me, Dustin, we're friends and we have a relationship, right? And you're a real person. But yes. But
really
like think of your favorite TV show and your favorite characters. You kind of have a relationship with them as well, right? And that's a parasocial relationship. And so
how do the chatbot companies build this relationship with their bots? Like come back and chat?
I think the same way that Hollywood does it with their characters and TV shows. You fall in love with characters, and they start representing like a piece of your social experience.
Yeah. Well, I think with movies and especially like if we look at Marvel and DC, like they've done such a good job at creating these like transmedia universes.
Right.
You can dive further into storylines. And for chat to be considered like another medium to expand storylines or relationships with brands or large companies, I think it's great.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And so in our next event, the Chatbot conference in April, on the 12th. So we're going to be talking about this to some degree. We have two speakers that build chatbots that are characters. Some of them are brand ambassadors that tell brand stories. Okay, because in some sense, like that's the next stage of like you interacting with the bot. And so imagine a media environment where you go and you watch your favorite movie, okay, or your favorite series like Game of Thrones, right? But Game of Thrones was based on like 7 books. I haven't read any of it, by the way, but or so I hear. What's that? You got him on tape? That's awesome. So so you can digest Game of Thrones in so many different ways, right? You can read the books, you could watch the TV show, okay? And in the not so distant future, you're going to be able to play a video game that kind of mirrors where you're at in the TV show and the books, more or less. So imagine going into a metaverse, okay, and being able to capture all those other storylines in like Game of Thrones, for example, that you can't capture in an 8-hour series, right? Like one season's about 8 hours. Like you can't, so you have all that extra richness. And so Hollywood studios, for example, they could be creating these, game-like, what's that?
Kind of choose your own destiny type of experience where you can actually like.
Think of it more as like a video game where you can discover more about the game, more about the story. And so now you're kind of like already falling in love with certain characters. So like, let's say you really like, is it Daenerys?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you really like Daenerys. You want to know more about her story. You go into the metaverse of Game of Thrones. You go up to Daenerys. You start asking her questions. Okay. You could see what she was like when she was a little girl, for example. Right. You can, so you can interact.
You can go back in the storyline as
well. Yeah, you can go back in the storyline, but you can't go forward.
The storyline.
I don't think you can change it, but anyway, these are characters that you could interact with.
That's cool.
So I think that's going to take this idea of parasocial relationships to the next level when you can interact with your favorite character on your favorite TV show.
Yeah, we had this project a while back where it was such a cool project. So this brand, it was a VR video game, and in the video game, you could on your little assistant, and the assistant would help you like select weapons and modify things. It was very cool. So the assistant would pop up in one of your eyes, and it was designed like the personality of the assistant, what it could do, and all sorts of things. And it was just this really cool blend of a video game, but also a chat experience at the same time. Because you would chat to the assistant, and it was like a chatbot screen and things like that. And you could select what you wanted to do. You could ask it for help, things like that. And it was cool to see two forms of media kind of come together and create one like pretty compelling experience.
Yeah, I concur. And I think we're eventually going to see a merging of all these things, like AI, NLU, obviously it's the same, it's a variation of it. You're going to have characters in the metaverse that are like conversational bots. You know, I don't know how to say his name right. I'm going to butcher it. Ilya, the guy that created Dialogflow. He's the founder.
The founders of API AI, or?
That's right. Yeah, he was the founder. So you know what he's doing now?
No.
He's creating chatbot for the. Yeah, this right. Well, probably right this second. At this very moment. Okay. Generally speaking, in this time, well, he launched a company that creates chatbots for the metaverse. So if you're a brand, like if you're BMW, you can have like your own, like, I mean, I guess BMW is not the best example, but you can create this experience, this avatar that's
you can chat inside the
that you can, exactly, and it creates a brand experience, and it's a platform is what he's doing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And so in regards to the metaverse, we're going to be sharing a little bit more about that, because our next conference is in the metaverse, and I'm going to show all of you guys that stuck around to the end. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and it looks really cool. And I know Dustin's dying to see it, right?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Okay. So I think we got our third place winner, and the judges have.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome back. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So before announcing it, tell us a little bit about the process while I get everything set up.
Yes. So as you see, in the meantime, it got dark. Yeah, it wasn't an easy choice, but we arrived to a conclusion. I don't know if Asinit wants to add something.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was fascinating. It was so nice to have a conversation and to get a feel for all the different judges' experiences. And to get the nuances of the different journeys that we all took, because we didn't all follow the same path through each conversation. And it was just kind of exciting to get different input, and it made me think differently about some of the bots that I'd interacted with.
Yeah, Dustin and I played around with the bots, and we had a good time. So did the audience. They asked they didn't ask a lot of questions, but they asked a good amount of questions. So without further ado.
Do you have a drum roll?
I'm looking for one. Nope. All right, let's try again. We do have a horn. No, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Without further ado.
Without further ado.
The third place winner is.
Yes. So then the third place winner is Physio. That's and pardon my pronunciation of your name, by Jerzy Biernacki from Mikito. And so Physio is such a powerful use case, working with, the situation of having a neuromuscular disorder, or caring for someone with a neuromuscular disorder, and the importance of finding the right exercises and understanding how the exercises work, being able to access instructions in a hands-free way, and to have personalized reminders based on one's personal needs for a regimen, to have those reminders to complete the exercises on an ongoing basis. It was kind of an end-to-end journey of a really helpful bot. And some of the most useful pieces we thought were not only the ability to select videos that were curated by professionals, by specialists. So that kind of, personalized selection instead of having to fish around online for the right videos. So the curated selection, being able to get an overview of the exercise, but also being able to go step by step so that you could follow along with the bot while completing the exercises. And then having the reminders that are built in. We thought this was just a great process to guide someone through their exercises from start to finish.
That's very exciting. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Yeah.
Jersey, we're going to be emailing you your certificate, and you'll have the option to turn it into an NFT.
Also the tickets for the conference, right?
That's right. And you'll get tickets to the Chatbot conference on April 12th. So reach out to me or Vittorio or any of the other, or Dustin, but Dustin can't help you, but you can still reach out to him. And yeah, you can still reach out. Awesome. So are we ready for number 2?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All
So,
right, number 2 is
Libby Colette by Colette from, excuse me, Libby by Colette Ellis. We really liked her use case for teaching how to tap. We thought that it was very empowering. The conversational design was very thoughtful. It had the most empathetic dialogue out of like all of the bots. Really made you feel cared for. Just even from the subtleties of asking what your pronouns are. And the richness was really good too. We liked the illustrations that were instructional, video in case you weren't familiar, and also just like a lot of the quick select, so you felt guided through the whole experience. It's really well done.
We played around with it, Dustin and I, and we loved it.
Tapping each other on the screen.
Yes.
It was really good. It was personally, I don't know too much about that, so I was able to like really explore and navigate the experience and fun doing it. So
it being like the tapping being on different parts of the body, I'm curious if that's, or like how relevant that is. You know what I mean? Is there like a psychological reason, or is it that you're just anchoring it?
Well, from the intro video, specific pressure points that you're tapping into.
Okay.
And so
Dustin and I, for the judges to know, Dustin and I played this game where one of us was the expert, Dustin, and one of us didn't know anything, me. And so I was the ignorant user and he was the expert user. And we wanted to find out, like, you know, if my uncle gave me the link and said, hey, I know you have a problem with anger, go talk to the bot, that I would pretty quickly be able to figure out how it could help me. Yeah. So are we ready for number 1?
Yeah.
yes.
Let's do this.
Okay. Okay, let's do it.
So in this chatbot contest, with all these quality entries and everything that you can do with bots these days, we felt that the winner here was one that empowered users in their healthcare journey. That's Bella Health. So Bella Health has an application that, and it's a combination between a lot of educational materials and the bot itself, and it helps users track their COVID testing for their rapid testing results, and lots of information, a lot of questions being answered. And what we particularly liked about this is, in addition to having all these rich features and good dialogue and the completeness of the solution, is that the utility of it and the difference that it can make, and sort of lead the way as a quality bot that serves a widespread usage. So in these really uncertain times of COVID, we have people who, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of people who can't even keep up with all of the information out there. That's, when should I test? Where are the tests? How do I do it? Am I doing it wrong? How do I, is this, reliable? What do I do for my family? All those questions. To have created a bot that you can have personally that guides you through all that process is incredibly empowering. And the way they went about it and the rich features that they used really used all the parts of conversation design and development in this area to enrich the app experience. So congratulations, Meredith. This is an incredible accomplishment. I'm really excited to be a part of this.
Congratulations. Let's give her a big round of applause. Oh,
okay. the double sound effect. That's amazing.
The double, yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, judges. And Meredith, we're going to send you your beautiful certificate. And you're also going to have tickets to the Chatbot conference. And with that in mind, let me show you guys what the Chatbot conference is going to look like. Now, the judges, do you guys have any idea what we're doing for this year's event?
I think we have, however, let's not miss the student category of the awards.
Yes, please show me the student category.
So the reason why it was not in the agenda initially, my lightning is so bad. Let me turn on another light. That's better like this. So we didn't plan at first, but we received a lot of awesome student categories, student entries that we felt was a little bit unfair comparing them to, the work of folks, inside companies with projects, with budgets. So we felt that the best thing was to have a student award. And before I announce the winner, I just wanted to say congratulations to the 3 finalists for the student award. Indra McKee from University of Technology, Sydney, with Kik. Lokesh Fulfagar, sorry if I'm butchering your name there. Let's try again. Lokesh Fulfagar from Carnegie Mellon University. That's the second finalist. And the third finalist is Deidra Jones from UX, CC, Chatbot Writing and Design. All of those 3 finalists did an amazing job. We really like them. But the winner is Lokesh Fulfagar from Carnegie Mellon University with Giggle. We really like the yay. I'm sorry, that's kind of the unexpected sound effect. We really like the project. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity of checking it out while we were deliberating in the secret room. Mm-hmm. Giggle is I think it's it's related to the shopping experience, but what I think was interesting for us was the way that the concept and the design was articulated, and how thoughtful every component of the experience, both of the UI and the conversation, was outlined. I don't know if you can screen share and give an idea of that, but I think it's also a good example of how you can build your portfolio with just one project. I have this question a lot from folks who are trying to break into conversation design, or students who are out of university. They ask me, like, how do I build a portfolio? I don't have any project, and it's kind of a chicken and egg problem. I cannot get any project because I don't have a portfolio, but I don't have a portfolio, etc. And one of the ways is just create one amazing project. Just one is enough. And if it's a very good one, it's better, in my opinion, than like 3 or 4 okay ones. And I think this one is a very good example of that. So it's a very thorough articulation of the design process, of why it matters, of what was the rest of the team involved in, how long it took, etc. And that's one project, one portfolio, right? Like nobody expects, somebody who's starting in the space to have 20 projects. So as long as you have one very good one, it's that's enough. And it's actually better in my experience. It's actually easier to grab the attention of somebody if you have just one interesting entry. So yeah, check it out if you're trying to break into conversation design. I think it's an inspiring example. And congratulations again.
Yeah, awesome job to all the contestants. Victoria, can you share that in the live chat on YouTube, the link to the project, so if someone wants to play around with the student ones?
Yeah, sure. Let me do that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should reveal my personal account with
Okay.
I mean, you will see a lot of chess content and
yeah,
stuff like that,
I know.
But, it's okay. I'll do that. So interesting entry. Okay. So I just share it right now. Congratulations again to Lokesh Fulkar.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Those are great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. Now, before we go, I want to share the Chatbot conference. So all the winners are getting tickets, and I want to show you what you're going to get. So let me jump in.
We're getting a little peek right now of the virtual conference here.
Yeah. So I'm jumping into the Central Land. I don't know if any of you guys have been here, but let me send people the link.
This is the first time you're doing the conference in the Central Land. I think the conference has been going on like since.
Yeah, since we were young children.
I mean, no, it's a historic thing now. Like there's
from 2017. So we did our first. From 2017 we've been doing it, and so this is like our sixth, roughly speaking. And we did all of our other events. We were doing them in live, and then coronavirus hit, and then we started doing them digitally. And one of the things we always wanted to do was to give you more of an embodied experience of like being at an event. And so the first time it was actually me and Dustin. We hosted it. We used, I forget what software even. And it was a really cool, it was more like a podcast the first time in 2020 when we had to go digital.
It was and like then 2 months into the year, like the pandemic had just hit, and we were like, well, let's do it online.
Yeah, let's do it online. And so since then, I've been wondering of ways where I could make it more embodied. And so over the past year, I've really been getting into the metaverse and NFTs and such. And then I thought, why don't I just do the events in the metaverse? And so that's where we're going to have it. So let me show you what that looks like. So if you're new to it, you're going to come into this environment. This is the Central Land. And, you can have like this little character. You could run around. This is where the main event's going to be. This is the Grand Theater. And that's where you're going to watch the speakers speak on this beautiful stage. You can see it's, And then the other cool thing is that you could like talk to other avatars. So you could walk around. You could interact with the billboards. So this is what the outside looks like.
Wow, this is cool.
Yeah. So let me jump into the other one real quick. So this is after the event. So the way we structure our conference is that like on the first day, we try to give you a top-down view of conversational AI, the 30,000 foot view, so we could identify like the most important areas. And then we do deep dives in these areas. So we do deep dives in the best use cases. We do deep dives in things like customer service and so on, marketing, back-end bots, HR, and so on. And then we talk about how to put it all together through conversational design and NLU. And then on the second day, you design a bot in our full day workshop with Hans. On our third day, we develop a bot. And so by the end of this project, by the end of the conference, you're going to have something you could take back to your team, put in your business, or add to your portfolio. So in all three of those things, it works. Now, the very last thing we do on the first day of the conference is we have a happy hour. And this is what the happy hour is going to look like in the metaverse. You're going to have your little avatar, and we're going to have a live DJ that will take your requests. And we're going to have the music playing. And then when you come on the dance floor, you're like your little avatar could dance. Let's see her dance. Oh, isn't that hilarious?
Okay. I'm excited about the speakers personally, but this is amazing.
Right? So I want to give you guys a discount code for coming here. So it's 25% off. And it's at chatbotslife.com. So let me tell you about the speakers since Victoria brought it up. But hold on. I'm going to have her leave the dance floor. So when she leaves the dance floor, then the music stops because it's associated just with the dance floor. Isn't that cool how that works? And so let's come here. So this is where it is, chatbotconference.com. If you use the code that you're seeing, it gives you an extra 25% off. And right now we're at, we already have a discount. So you're getting a double discount. And then the one that you're seeing ends very soon. It's just for you guys that stuck to the end. We wanted to give you something. So here are some of the speakers. So Guy Gagné is going to talk about conversational agents like that work for brands like Disney that create experiences to avatars in the metaverse. So in these sort of environments. And then we're going to try to create an experience for you so you could see what that's like. We have Google speaking, Salesforce, IBM.
Is the list final, or you're going to invite more speakers?
It's mostly final. We're like 90%, okay. Roughly speaking. Yeah. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about characters, design, NLP, NOU, use cases. You could see what other experiences were like from other events. So this is when it was live. You could see people in real life.
My favorite one was
okay. Let's not dwell too much on that.
Yeah.
Now, after the metaverse.
I'm sorry. Was that a letdown? Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys get the idea. So, and then when you come to the metaverse attended, then you can go attend some other events. You can go gambling at the casinos. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. So. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming. And then the speakers, we have passes for you guys as well. So you're more than welcome to join. Just send me an email, and then you can actually use your first name and you get 5 tickets. FYI.
Amazing. Well, Stefan,
yeah, absolutely.
Great job with the competition, and look forward to joining you in the metaverse.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you guys are coming because you're all invited and you have tickets now. So, and Vittorio, thank you for, I have to also thank Vittorio because he really helped. He's more than just a judge. He's a judge on, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching and thanks for being a part of it. And we'll hope to see you next year and hope to see you in the conference before that.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.